Welcome to Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story, where we answer the questions you have about your favorite classic authors. What inspired your favorite author to write their novels? What was going on in the world at the time? Follow along with us as we tell you what was happening in the world while your favorite authors wrote your favorite classics. My name is Bree Carlile, and I love to read, and wanted to share my passion with listeners like you. If you want to know what's coming next and vote on upcoming books, sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. Be sure to follow my show on your favorite podcast platform so you get all the new episodes. You can find most of our links in the show notes, but also our website biteatatimebooks.com includes all of the links for our show, including to our Patreon to support the show and YouTube where we have special behind the narration of the episodes. We're part of the Bite at a Time Books Productions Network. If you'd also like to hear a book by the author, check out the Bite at a Time Books podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Today we'll be talking about the legacy of Charles Dickens. Museums and festivals celebrating Dickens's life and works exist in many places, with which Dickens was associated. These include the Charles Dickens Museum in London, the historic home where he wrote Oliver Twist, the Pickwick Papers, and Nicholas Nickleby, and the Charles Dickens Birthplace Museum in Portsmouth, the house in which he was born. The original manuscripts of many of his novels, as well as printers' proofs, first editions, and illustrations from the collection of Dickens's friend John Forster, are held at the Victoria and Albert Museum. Dickens's will stipulated that no memorial be erected in his honor. Nonetheless, a life-size bronze statue of Dickens entitled Dickens and Little Nell, cast in 1890 by Francis Edwin Elwell, stands in Clark Park in the Spruce Hill neighborhood of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Another life-size statue of Dickens is located at Centennial Park in Sydney, Australia. In 1960, a bas-relief sculpture of Dickens, notably featuring characters from his books, was commissioned from sculptor Escort J. Clack to adorn the office building built on the site of his former home at 1 Devonshire Terrace, London. In 2014, a life-size statue was unveiled near his birthplace in Portsmouth on the 202nd anniversary of his birth. This was supported by his great-great-grandsons, Ian and Gerald Dickens. A Christmas Carol is most probably his best-known story, with frequent new adaptations. It is also the most filmed of Dickens's stories, with many versions dating from the early years of cinema. According to the historian Ronald Hutton, the current state of the observance of Christmas is largely the result of a mid-Victorian revival of the holiday, spearheaded by A Christmas Carol. Dickens catalyzed the emerging Christmas as a family-centered festival of generosity, in contrast to the dwindling community-based and church-centered observations, as new middle-class expectations arose. Its archetypal figures, Scrooge, Tiny Tim, the Christmas ghosts, entered into Western cultural consciousness. Merry Christmas, a prominent phrase from the tale, was popularized following the appearance of the story. The term Scrooge became a synonym for miser, and his exclamation, "Bah humbug," a dismissal of the festive spirit, likewise gained currency as an idiom. The Victorian-era novelist William Makepeace Thackeray called the book a national benefit, and to every man and woman who reads it a personal kindness. Dickens was commemorated on the Series E £10 note issued by the Bank of England that circulated between 1992 and 2003. His portrait appeared on the reverse of the note, accompanied by a scene from the Pickwick Papers. The Charles Dickens School is a high school in Broadstairs, Kent, a theme park, Dickens World, standing in part on the site of the former naval dockyard where Dickens's father once worked in the Navy Pay Office, opened in Chatham in 2007. To celebrate the 200th anniversary of the birth of Charles Dickens in 2012, the Museum of London held the UK's first major exhibition on the author in 40 years. In 2002, Dickens was number 41 in the BBC's poll on the 100 Greatest Britons. American literary critic Harold Bloom placed Dickens among the greatest Western writers of all time. In the 2003 UK survey, The Big Read, carried out by the BBC, 5 of Dickens's books were named in the top 100. Actors who have portrayed Dickens on screen include Anthony Hopkins, Derek Jacobi, Simon Callow, Dan Stevens, and Ralph Fiennes, the latter playing the author in The Invisible Woman, 2013, which depicts Dickens' secret love affair with Ellen Ternan, which lasted for 13 years until his death in 1870. Dickens and his publications have appeared on a number of postage stamps in countries including the United Kingdom. 1970, 1993, 2011, and 2012 issued by the Royal Mail. Their 2012 collection marked the bicentenary of Dickens' birth. The Soviet Union, 1962. Antigua, Barbuda, Botswana, Cameroon, Dubai, Fujairah, St. Lucia, and Turks and Caicos Islands, 1970. St. Vincent, 1987. Nevis, 2007. Alderney, Gibraltar, Jersey, and Pitcairn Islands, 2012. Austria, 2013, and Mozambique, 2014. In 1976, a crater on the planet Mercury was named in his honor. In November 2018, it was reported that a previously lost portrait of a 31-year-old Dickens by Margaret Giles had been found in Pietermaritzburg, South Africa. Giles was an early supporter of women's suffrage and had painted the portrait in late 1843 when Dickens, aged 31, wrote A Christmas Carol. It was exhibited to acclaim at the Royal Academy of Arts in 1844. The Charles Dickens Museum is reported to have paid £180,000 for the portrait. Thank you for joining Bite at a Time Books Behind the Story today, while we answered some of the questions you have about one of your favorite classic authors. Again, my name is Bree Carlile, and I hope you come back next time when we answer more questions about one of your favorite classic authors. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter at biteatatimebooks.com. Check out the show notes or our website, biteatatimebooks.com, for the links for our show.